But then you had another injury, right?
Yes, I did.
So, without going into too much detail, how did you keep yourself out of a depressed state at that point, and then get yourself back on track to get to the place now where you're like, okay, I want to heal mind, body, and spirit, and one of the best ways to do that is through the cell phones, because everybody got apps for everything else. Why not have an app for this? So
Hmm.
talk us through the injury and then becoming this tech founder. Lord, what the heck?
I
What's up?
know, such a 360, right? So yeah, how did I get myself out of how did I, you said, how did I avoid a depression, right? I didn't. I'll be
Mhm,
lying if I said I didn't go through a depressive state.
mhm,
Um, I did go into a depression. I was running to a client training in
mhm,
2019. So I know 2020 we all went through this whole panorama, right?
mhm.
Globally.
Yeah.
Mine's was actually in 2019. I was at the peak of my business. I launched out a new group fitness class called Curl
Mhm,
Sweat. I had the dopest. I sat on that dream, starting that group class for 3 years. I was supposed to do it with a friend, didn't
mhm,
do it. She got a job, like all this stuff. And I finally put it out. So proud of myself. I had a good turnout. And the next morning, I like what 8 hours later, 16 hours later, I was running to a client and I was running down the steps, and I fell and tore my ACL and my meniscus. So
mm.
that's like a trainer's worst
Yeah.
nightmare
Yeah.
in a sense. Um, but again, when I hit that floor, I was like,
You had your
okay,
5 minutes of thug tears,
yeah, my
right?
5 minutes to 13. I don't even think I cried. I remember. I mean, of course, like later, my legs swelled up. Uh, I always tell people like, you want to remember in Big Mama's house when he had the big legs and stuff sitting in the
Mhm.
background. Like my legs swelled up like that. I was like, my legs look like Big Mama. But I had my moment. I remember hitting that pavement, and I was just like, okay, like God, what you got now? Like
Mhm,
you're about to
mhm.
take me through, because everything we go through is for a reason, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like I said, I did go through the depressive state, but I had very encouraging people around me to support me, and I was
Mhm.
okay riding through that little road of depression.
Yeah.
I had to get help. I talked about therapy. I know it's important. It needs to be prevalent in the Black family, because we look at the stigma. That's what finally got me to get like, okay, I need to talk to a therapist.
Mhm,
But I feel like that was like the introductory when I finally went online, because I've been wanting to go online for a while, right? And
mhm.
have like virtual things. Like I remember having clients that will move from New York, and they're like, I wish you did virtual and stuff. And I just did it because I'm so hands on.
Mhm.
And I was just like, no,
Yeah.
I'm still kind of old school. I might be young, but I'm very kind of old school in a way. And when that happened, I couldn't walk. I remember taking the bus all the way. It used to be an hour bus ride all the way to. I worked in the Times Square Hell's Kitchen area of 42nd Street,
Mhm.
and I remember taking it on crutches, and it was just like I would swell up, and I'm like, I can't do this. And my client was like, well, let's just do virtual, like been saying it. So I finally went virtual. I'm like, oh, this can work. Like, I'm
Mhm.
making it work. I'm making it do. I had to get my mind right. I had to get some support and some help and just ride through that path and that wave. But when that happened, and then I got off the crutches, I was on crutches for almost 8 months.
Mm.
Because they didn't know like if the injury was bad enough, like we were trying to go natural, whatever. And not too long after that, the pandemic happened, right? The
Mhm.
the crash
Mhm.
happened. So those two situations actually helped to what has built me into being in this tech founding space and
Yeah.
the virtual space, because I always had this Facebook group, which was really just a group where I would just share a couple tips and natural remedies, like stuff like that. It was where when I had boot camps, I'll just tell that. And then when the pandemic happened, I'm still recovering. Like, I
Mhm.
still can't even run today. This on the 22nd, actually, in 6 days, it'll be exactly 3 years when I fell.
Okay.
I just started doing free workouts. I'm like, I gotta keep working out, y'all. So I'm
Mhm.
just gonna turn the camera on and come. Y'all can come, invite your friends, and then the group just started growing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was like, okay, like, but I was doing it on Facebook. So the music, I was getting banned and the stuff was getting off. So I didn't actually want to create an app. I was called to it. Like, you know, like you said, I didn't get hit upside my head for this calling. I actually remember hiring a coach. I wanted to do a group program, you know, like where I work with mind, body, spirit in a way, and put it together. And then she was like, okay, like that sounds good. Just sit with it a little bit. Like, you know, meditate and make sure this is it. Because I reached out to her when I was injured, you know, because I'm like, hey, my fingers still work. My left leg don't, but my fingers still work. And she said, just sit with it. I just want you to be sure. When I went into the meditation and just sat with it, I felt like, you know, God just sat on right next to me and leaned in and whispered in my ear and was like, hey, like kind of like straight Kanye West me. Like, I know what you about to do is about to be real dope and cool, but you gonna rename that group. It's called Her Fur Fur. I couldn't hear it. It just sounds just like Charlie Brown, like Her Fur Fur. I knew it was her something, you know. It's called Her Fur Fur, and you're actually gonna create an app. And I'm like, an app? Like, what?